Welcome to your science video lecture. So, as you know that we were doing chapter number 4 from your science book, and the name of the chapter is sorting materials into groups. Okay, so today we will continue the chapter with the other topics, but before we move on to the topics, let's discuss that what we have done in the previous video. Okay, so we have done in the previous video that why do sorting is important, or why do we need sorting. So let's quickly do a recap with the main points of the topic. Okay, so why is it important that we need sorting? There are various reasons that why we need sorting. Okay, so let's read the points and discuss them in brief. Okay, so to save time to find the object. Okay, so as we discussed in the previous video also, that if we want something to be found easily, we need to sort the items correctly, right? If we are sorting the items in a order, then it is easy for us to find that item from a major group of other objects, right? It is easy for us to find that particular object if it is placed according to the sorting, or if it is placed according to the you can say according to its groups. Okay, so it is easy to find the object. So it means so students, the second point is it saves our energy. So it is clear that yes, it will save our energy. How? Suppose if you want to make a tea, so the items that you want, or the objects, materials that you want to prepare a tea is going to be in the kitchen. So it will save your energy, as you know that the items that you need to prepare a particular object, a particular thing that you want is in a place according to the sorting of the material, or you can say grouping of those materials. Okay, so second point is it saves our energy. Third point says that grouping or sorting makes the place well arranged and beautiful. Yes, it makes the place well arranged and beautiful. Suppose if you want to, put your clothes in a wardrobe, so you put it according to the groups, right? You put jeans in a separate bundle of bundle. If you put shirt in a separate bundle, you are not going to put all those clothes just in the almirah, and it will look messy. So it looks beautiful, it looks arranged if you put the materials according to the grouping of those particular materials. Means similarities. We group objects or materials according to their similarities. Okay. The fourth point is that convenience to store. Okay, what is the meaning of convenience to store? Convenience to store means that if you want to store that particular object, and as I've already given you example of your almirah and your clothes, so if you want to put the clothes inside the almirah, and if you put those clothes according to the groups, okay, as groups like putting shirts in a particular place and putting jeans on the separate banner, so it will help to convenience the store. You can put more clothes inside the almirah. But if you are just taking all the clothes that you have and you are just putting inside the almirah, then what is going to happen? The almirah is going to be full, and the order, or the you can say the storage of the almirah will not be well utilized. Okay, I hope this point is also clear to you. Next point is convenience to study. Convenience to study means, as we know that in science what we do, we study about different type of objects, how they are made, what are their properties. So to study a particular objects, let's say if we are studying about wood, so we know that what are the properties of wood. So it helps us to study the objects that are similar to wood. Okay, it helps to study the properties of the similar group objects. Okay, so these were some important, or you can say reasons why the sorting of material is required, or why the sorting of material or objects are important. Okay, now let's talk about that materials grouping. Okay, students, all these topics I have already explained in detail in the previous video. This is just for your revision purpose. Okay, so I hope you are able. Okay, so this is just for your revision purpose, and I am only giving you bullet points here in this video. Okay, so now let's talk about what are materials. So materials are what? The matter from which an object is made is called material. Let's take an example. If we talk about bottle, okay, normal water bottle. So what are the materials that are used to prepare a bottle? It can be of plastic, it can be of steel. So these are the materials which are required to prepare a plastic bottle. Okay. Similarly, here are given the examples: glass, steel, wood. These are the examples of materials. Materials means from which an object is created, or from which from which a object is created. Okay. Now the second point here is that classification. Classification means grouping. Okay. Classification in general means grouping. So how we classify these objects, these materials? So the process of sorting and grouping materials according to some basic similarities is called classification. Okay, we classify different objects according to their similarities and dissimilarities. Let's say, suppose you want to classify some objects like paper, pen, okay, books, table, and wooden block, car, cycle. So how you are going to classify these objects? You are going to classify the objects that are similar. Then what are the similar objects? Books are similar to pen. Books, pens and table, they can be used for studying purpose, right? And bicycle and car is for the purpose of traveling. So you can separate these objects according to the usage of the objects. So this is just a small example where you can understand that how or what is the basis of classification. So we do classification according to the similarities of the object. Okay, object can be classified on different bases. Like different bases, what? Shape, material, size, usage. Okay, these are some example according to which we can divide or classify the objects. I hope this point is also clear to you. Now this third point here is that basis of grouping. What is the basis of grouping? How we should classify or how we should group the objects. So material can be grouped on the basis of similarities and differences in their properties. As I have already explained you, that they can be classified according to the similarities as well as dissimilarities. Okay, different type of materials have different properties such as appearance, solubility, transparency, conductivity and behavior toward magnet, etc. These are some examples of properties of a particular material, properties of different materials. Okay, these all things we are going to discuss in the video fully. So let's wait for that. Okay, so these were the topics that we have covered in the previous video, and we have also talked about that what properties of materials are we going to study in this particular chapter. Okay, so the chapters that in this chapter we are going to do the properties of appearance. Okay, according to the appearance we are going to see that how the objects are classified. Then comes the hardness. The third point is solubility. Okay, density and transparency. All these points we will discuss in this video in detail. So let's move on. Okay, so in the previous video we have already talked about that what is appearance and how appearance is how we can classify the object according to the appearance of those objects. Okay, let's do a quick recap of this point also. Okay, so appearance is what? Materials can be classified on the basis of how they look and appear. Appear means what we can see an object. Appearance means suppose you are looking at an object. So by looking, what are the differentiation that you can make on the basis of your observation is the appearance. Appearance is the outer look of the object. Okay, without touching, without feeling the object, what are the conclusions that you can make by just looking at the object is it come under the point appearance. Okay, appearance means the look of that object. Okay, so materials can be classified on the basis of how they look or appear. Some materials have luster. Okay, and we have discussed that what is the meaning of luster? Luster means shine. Okay, which is a soft glow to them, while other are plain or dull. Okay, so we have discussed that lustrous objects are what? Like gold, silver, and what are the non-lustrous objects, or you can say what are the objects that don't have shine to them, or those who are dull? Wood. Okay, so we have discussed this in the video. So this was the point number one. Second is that materials that have such luster can usually be classified as metals. So those materials which have shine to them is classified as metals. Okay. Some other examples of metals are gold, copper, aluminium, iron, etc. Okay. What is the definition of metals? You can say one of the property of metals, not definition. What is the one of the property of metals? It is that they have luster to them. What is the meaning of luster? Luster means shine. Okay. Usually a metal loses its luster after some time due to the action of moisture and air on it. Okay, this is called corrosion of metals. Therefore, only freshly cut metals appears to have luster to on them. So here let's take an example. Okay, what it means that metals have luster to them, means they have shine to them. But if they are exposed to moisture and air, what happens? The luster of the object or the material with time it gets you can say धीरे धीरे कम होती रहती है. Okay, so here let's take an example. If you have a piece of gold, okay, and let's take an example of iron. If you have an iron rod and you have seen that if that iron rod is placed outside, you will observe that the iron rod get corroded. Corroded means the iron rod will lost its luster or shine. But when you will cut the iron rod, okay, freshly you will cut the iron rod, you will observe that the inner corner of the iron rod will have the shine. Okay, so due to moisture the metals can lose their luster. Okay, and iron is very good example of this. And when the metals lose their luster due to the action of moisture and air, it is known as corrosion of metals. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you. So all these were the part of video first. Okay, now we are going to discuss the next topics. Okay, so listen carefully, all of you students. Okay, so the next point of differentiation, or you can say grouping of materials, objects or materials are hardness. Okay, so for hardness, how you are going to check the hardness of a object? You are going to touch the item. Yes, you are going to touch that particular item and you will feel the hardness or the softness. Okay, so materials can also be classified on the basis of hardness. Yes, it can be classified on the basis of hardness. Here let's take an example. This is a piece of cotton, this is a piece of sponge. When you will hold these both of these things, you will observe that they are very soft in nature. Okay, you can press if you are pressing these objects between your arms, you will observe that they are changing their shape shape with the when you are pressing it between your thumb or between your fingers or palms, you will observe that they are changing the shape, and you can say that they are soft in nature. Okay, materials that can be easily compressed or stretched. Okay, you can stretch them, you can compress them. So what are those materials which can easily be compressed and easily be stretched are known as soft materials. Okay, so examples of soft materials you can give cotton and sponge. These are examples of soft materials. Now let's talk about the materials which are hard. So materials that cannot be stretched and are difficult to compress are termed as hard. Okay, those materials which you cannot compress or you cannot you cannot stretch are known as hard metals. For example, iron, wood. Okay, these are examples of hard metals. If you are suppose if you have a piece of wooden block in your hand and you try to press that wooden block and you want to change the shape of that wooden block by pressing it, you cannot do it. Okay, that is very difficult to do, and you cannot stretch the material also. You cannot stretch the wooden block. Okay, if you want that my 2 centimeter wooden block gets 4 centimeter, you cannot do it. But if you want to change the shape and size, not the size, just the shape of the sponge, you can do it by stretching the sponge. Okay, so I hope by this you can understand that what are hard metals and what are not metals, sorry students, what are hard materials and what are soft materials. Soft materials are those materials which can be stretched and which can be compressed easily, okay, and those materials which cannot be stretched and cannot be compressed easily is known as hard materials, okay. I hope this point is clear to you, students. Here you can see this is iron rod, and you cannot mold this iron rod just by using your strength. Now let's talk about the second point. The points that we have discussed till now is appearance, okay. According to the appearance we can group the different objects, okay, or materials, and the second point that we discussed was the hardness of the object, according to which we can differentiate or group the materials. Okay students, so now the third point here is soluble and insoluble substances, or you can say materials, okay. So here, to understand this point, let's perform a experiment, okay. Let's think that you are performing an experiment, and this experiment or this activity you can perform this at your home by yourself also, okay. What you have to do is that first of all you have to take, so students, let's take an activity for this, okay. We have taken 5 beakers here, okay. Beaker A, B, C, D and E, okay, and in this beaker we are going to put some materials, okay. What are those? Let's see. And then we have filled the beaker with waters, okay. All the beaker we have filled water in them, and now we are going to add some. In first beaker we added a spoon. So now we are going to do what? We are going to put sugar in first beaker, then we are going to put salt in the second beaker. Third beaker we are going to put a chalk powder, okay. We have crushed the chalk, and then we are going to put that in the third beaker. After that we will sand in the second beaker, and in the third beaker we are going to put sand dust, okay. These are the 3 things that we have put in the beaker. So what are the things that we have mixed it, put it in inside the beaker? In first beaker we have added a tablespoon of sugar, okay, and in the second we have added a tablespoon of salt. In the third we put what? In the first beaker we have added salt, right? We added salt in the first beaker. Now in the second beaker we added sugar to it, and in the second we added salt. In the third beaker we added chalk powder. In the fourth one we added sand, and in the fifth beaker we added sawdust, okay. These are the 5 things, 5 different materials that we have added to the beaker with 1/3 of water, okay. Now what we have to do, we have to stir the whole solution, okay. We have to stir the, okay. Now we are mixing all the thing that we have added into the beaker with the help of spoon. We are stirring it, and we are mixing all the things that are inside the beaker. So as you can observe, what are the observations that you can make by just looking at the beaker? What are the observations that you can make? Just take a prediction that what happened, or what are the observations that you notice. So in beaker A and B, where the salt and sugar we have put it, what happened? They got dissolved in the beaker. Yes, they are totally dissolved in the beaker. So, and the rest of the beaker, chalk powder, sand and sawdust beaker, they are not dissolved in the water. So they are still undissolved in the water, as you can see here. So by this what you can say is that salt and sugar are soluble in water, whereas chalk powder, sand and sawdust, they are insoluble in water. Insoluble means they didn't get mixed with the water even when we stir it, okay. Stir means जब हमने चम्मच से उनको हिलाया, then still they are not mixed with water, so they are insoluble in water, okay. So this is the observation or the result, observation of the activity, okay. And what is the result of the activity? By the result you can say that salt and sugar is the soluble in liquid, that is water, and chalk, sand and sawdust, they are insoluble in liquid, that is water, okay. So students, this was a small example to show you that what is soluble and what is insoluble substances or materials, okay. So from the experiment we got to a conclusion that sugar is a, here also you can see that sugar is a soluble material, right? When we put sugar in the water, what we will observe that the sugar get totally dissolved in the water, whereas if we put sand in the water, we will see that the sand is not dissolving in the water, and it will do what? It will settle down at the bottom of the water. So that is insoluble in water. I hope this concept is clear to you. So what are insoluble and soluble materials? So materials that can be dissolved in water. So those materials which can be dissolved in water upon stirring are said to be soluble materials. Okay, those materials which get dissolved in the water when we stir them are known as soluble materials. For example, sugar and salt. Okay, with the experiment we can conclude this also. And then what about the insoluble materials? So materials that cannot be dissolved in water, no matter how much we stir them, are said to be insoluble materials. Okay, so it means that materials which are insoluble, or you can say which doesn't get dissolved in the water even when we stir it for a longer time, that is known as insoluble materials. Okay, I hope this is clear to you, students. So for example, what are stones and cloth? Cloth cannot be dissolved in water. So these are some examples of materials that cannot dissolve in water. Okay, so not only solid materials, okay, there are some materials like in liquid form also that have solubility and insolubility. Okay, here let's take an example. So for not just solid materials, even liquid have the property of being soluble and insoluble. Okay, let's take example. Let's take example of lemon juice. Okay, we love lemon juice, right? All of you drink lemon juice when you feel hot. Yes, you love lemon juice, I hope. But have you ever noticed that when you put the lemon juice inside the water, it gets dissolved inside the water, in the water. Yes, it gets dissolved. Whereas if you will put the oil droplets on the water, it will not get dissolved. Or when you are going to put oil in the water, it will not dissolve even if you stir it. Okay, even if you stir it. So lemon juice can easily dissolve in water, while oil does not dissolve and deposit as a thin layer on the uppermost layer of water. So what happens if you will put a lemon juice inside the water and you stir it, you will notice that the lemon juice is totally dissolved in water. Whereas if you will put inside the water few oil, then you will notice that the oil doesn't get dissolved. It will do what? It will come up and deposit on the uppermost level of the water. And if you are putting the oil and water in a glass jar, you will notice that suppose this is water, this whole thing is water, so the oil will make a upper layer here, and you can distinguish where is oil and where is water. Okay, so this is the concept of soluble and insoluble materials, and I hope that you know that soluble materials are what now and insoluble materials are what. Students, so we talked about just now that how lemon juice can be mixed with water, whereas if we will add oil and with oil, if we add oil with water, we will observe that it is not miscible in water. Okay, so those liquid which get mixed with each other, they are known as miscible liquid. What we call them? We call them as miscible liquids. Okay, whereas liquids that do not mix with each other, they are known as immiscible liquids. Okay, so I hope this point is clear to you, that what is soluble and insoluble materials and what are miscible and immiscible liquids. Okay, and this activity you can also perform this at your home by yourselves to see that what are the objects, materials that can dissolve in water and what are not. Okay, now let's move on to the second topic, which is object that can sink and float. Okay, first of all, so the next topic is object that can sink and float. Okay, object that can sink and float. So there are some objects which sink and there are some objects which float on the water, surface of water. Okay, there's those objects which are insoluble in water, okay, insoluble materials which sink to the bottom of the surface when put in water, while some other float on water. Okay, let's say you have put a cotton, wood and an iron nail in water. Okay, and which of these float and which of these sink? If you observe, you will observe that the cotton and the wood float on the surface of water, whereas nail will sink inside the water. Okay, and if you weight equal volume of cotton, wood, iron and water, okay, what we have to weight? We have to weight the equal volumes of cotton, wood, iron and water. You will find that cotton and wood, they both have less weight than water, whereas iron nail will have more weight than water. Okay, so this is the reason why the iron gets sinked in the water, whereas the cotton and wood is still floating on the water. This is because of the reason, this is because the density of those objects is less. They are more the iron nail is more dense than the water. Okay, so what is density? Density is the defined as mass per present in per unit of volume of a substance. Okay, mass present per unit of the volume of substance. Okay, that is density. Okay, due to density of the object, which is the density of iron is more. Okay, it is heavier than water, so what happen? It gets sink inside the water, whereas cotton and the wooden block is weight lesser than water. They are floating on the surface of water. Okay, so object with higher density than water will sink. Okay, object that have high density than water will sink. As example, in example we talked about iron. Okay, a coin is made up of metal, so we know that a coin is made up of metal, right? And density of metal is higher than water. So what will happen when you will put a coin inside the water? You will observe that the coin gets sink inside the water. Okay, it got sink inside the water. You can perform this activity at your home also, students. You just have to take a glass of water and you can try this at your home. Okay, the second point here is that the object with less density than water will float on water. Okay, those objects which have less density than water, they will float. Like we talk about leaves. Okay, you have seen that in when the leaves get shattered from the tree, it gets and it floats on water. It then gets sink inside the water. Okay, this is an example, whereas we have talked about cotton. These both are examples where the both have density less than water, so they are floating on the surface of water. Okay, so next topic is transparency. Okay, so transparency is divided into three parts. Okay, what are they? First is transparent, opaque and translucent. Okay, to understand this, let's take a small example. Let's say suppose you have a wooden block and you have a glass jar. Okay, so in both of them, if I ask you to see through it, okay, and tell me that what is on the other side of the object, from other side of the object, so can you tell me with the wooden block? No. With the help, if you have a wooden block and if I ask you to see through the wooden block that what is on the other side of the wooden block, you cannot tell me. But if I ask you the same thing to look at the glass jar, okay, on to see through the glass jar and tell me that what is on the other side of the glass jar, you can tell me. Why? What is the difference? One is transparent, okay, and the other one is opaque. Okay, one is transparent and the other one is opaque. Transparent means those objects, okay, those objects through which we can see, okay, and opaque are those objects through which we cannot see, okay, other side of the object we cannot see. So here is to explain you in a better way. Okay, so what are transparent objects? Transparent objects are those objects which allows light to pass through them. Okay, if you have a plastic sheet, here in this picture you can see that this is a transparent object. Here this person is looking at this plastic paper and he can see through the plastic paper, right? Plastic. Whereas what is the meaning of translucent? Translucent are the object that allows some light to pass through them. Okay, they cannot pass the whole light, but they allow some light to pass through them. And we can, and one more thing, in transparent sheets of transparent object, we can see the other side of the object very clearly. But in translucent objects, we cannot do that. We can see that the light is coming from the translucent object, but we cannot see the object or the things or the materials which are on the other side of the translucent thing. Okay, and what is opaque? Opaque, they don't, okay, they have no property to pass light through them. Okay, they don't pass light through them. Okay, and I want you to watch the video, as I hope that you all are watching your videos. So student, I will ask you in your Zoom class to give me examples of objects which are transparent, translucent and and opaque. Okay, I hope you can tell me after watching the video that what are transparent, what are opaque and what are translucent objects. Okay, so object or materials are transparent because the light rays can easily pass through them. Okay, those objects which are transparent is because they can pass easily light through them. Okay, and glass, for example, is glass, clear water and some plastics can be seen through because light can easily pass through them. Okay, these are some examples. Glass, okay, glass is an example. Water, clear water is an example through which you can see that through which the light can pass very clearly. Okay, light rays can pass. Objects or materials are translucent because the light rays are partially passed through them. Okay, objects are translucent because the light rays can pass partially. Partially means or they cannot pass clearly. Okay, they cannot pass clearly through the translucent objects or materials. Butter paper or frosted glass allows the light to partially pass through them. Butter paper, I hope that all of you know that what is butter paper. Frosted glass are, these glass are used in our bathrooms. Okay, but as you know, I want you all to observe the bathroom windows that you have. You will observe that the light is passing through the window, but you cannot see that what is on the other side of the window. Okay, that is because the light is passing partially through the object. Then the third point says that objects or materials are opaque because the light rays cannot pass through them. Okay, opaque objects are those objects which cannot pass light through them. Like metal, wood, cardboard are some examples of opaque items. Okay, no light can pass through them, so they cannot see through, you cannot see through them. Okay, so you cannot see through them because there is no light that is passing through the object or material. So what is transparent object? Transparent object are those objects which allows light to pass, full light to pass through it, and transparent objects you can see the other sides also. Okay, you can see the object through the transparent object. What about opaque object? Opaque object, they doesn't allow the light to pass through them, and due to which we cannot see through them. Okay, so I hope this concept is also clear to you. So students, this was all about the video, and I hope all the properties that I have explained in the video, you understood all the properties, and you know now that these are the properties according to which we generally classify the, or you can say sort the material into groups. Okay, thank you.